Michael had just received another rejection email. Number 17. 17 interviews, 17 rejections. At this point, he wasn't even angry anymore. He was just tired. The words were always the same. "We regret to inform you." Every time he read that sentence, a little part of his confidence disappeared. He had worked hard. He had studied. He had tried. But nothing seemed to work. And for the first time in his life, he asked himself a dangerous question. What if I'm not good enough? Every morning, Michael woke up before the sun. The alarm rang at 5:30, just like it always did. And just like every other day, he reached out, pressed the button, and sat there for a moment, staring into the quiet darkness of his small bedroom. Not because he was lazy, not because he didn't care, but because starting the day felt heavier than it used to. He slowly stood up, walked into the kitchen, and poured himself a cup of coffee. The machine hummed softly while the room stayed silent. Outside the window, the street was still dark. Most people were still sleeping, but responsibility doesn't wait for comfort. So Michael put on his uniform, tied his shoes, grabbed his keys, and stepped outside into the cold morning air. The drive to the warehouse took only 15 minutes. He had driven that same route hundreds of times. Same traffic lights, same gas station, same gray building waiting at the end of the road. When he walked through the doors, the noise hit him immediately. Machines running, boxes moving, voices calling across the floor. Work had already begun. Michael lifted one box after another, stacking them carefully onto a pallet. The weight pressed against his arms and shoulders, but he kept moving. He always kept moving, because stopping meant falling behind. And falling behind was something he could not afford. The job was honest, the paycheck was steady. But deep inside, Michael knew this wasn't the life he had imagined for himself. Not when he was younger. Not when he believed his future would look different. Somewhere along the way, his dreams had become smaller, quieter, less certain. And each passing day made it harder to remember what he had once hoped for. Sometimes, during short breaks, Michael would stop for a moment and look around the warehouse. He watched the same people doing the same tasks, day after day, year after year. Some had been there for 10 years, some for 20, and a quiet fear began to grow inside him. What if one day he became one of them, still working hard, still surviving, but never truly moving forward? One evening, reality hit harder than usual. The rent was due, the electricity bill was overdue, and the numbers on the table refused to cooperate. Michael picked up the calculator, pressed the buttons, checked the total again. Still not enough. He tried a second time, then a third, as if repeating the calculation might somehow change the answer. But the answer stayed the same. There simply wasn't enough money. Not this week. Not this month. Maybe not even next month. He leaned back in his chair and stared at the ceiling. The room was quiet. Too quiet. The refrigerator hummed softly in the background. A clock ticked on the wall. Each sound felt louder than usual. Each second felt heavier than the last. And in that silence, a dangerous thought began to grow. Maybe this was it. Maybe this was his life. Maybe nothing would ever change. Maybe this was all he would ever be. A man working hard every day just to stay in the same place. A man trying his best but never moving forward. For the first time in years, Michael doubted himself. Not his job. Not his effort, himself. He walked into the bathroom and turned on the light. Then he stood there, staring at his own reflection. Same face, same tired eyes, same worried expression. He searched that reflection for answers, but all he saw was exhaustion. He wondered if he had missed his chance, if he had taken the wrong path, if he had waited too long to change. And slowly, quietly, another thought began to form. What if success wasn't meant for him? What if some people were simply destined to struggle forever? That thought didn't just hurt, it frightened him. Because once you start believing that, it becomes very hard to keep trying.
You don't need a miracle. You need a habit.
Michael looked up, slightly confused. A habit? Not more talent, not more luck, not a sudden opportunity. Just a habit, a small action repeated every single day. The idea sounded simple, almost too simple. For years, Michael had believed that success required something big. A big chance, a big connection, a big breakthrough. But what if success didn't begin with something big? What if it began with something small? Something quiet, something consistent. The rest of the day, Michael couldn't stop thinking about those words. You need a habit. They followed him through every task, every movement, every moment. While lifting boxes, while stacking pallets, while walking across the warehouse floor, the sentence repeated itself inside his mind. Again and again. Not a miracle, a habit. That night, when he returned home, something felt different. Instead of turning on the television, he sat down at the kitchen table. The apartment was quiet. No distractions, no noise, just him and a blank page. Michael picked up a pen and paused for a moment. Then he wrote one simple sentence. Read 10 pages every day, no excuses. No skipping. No waiting for motivation. Because deep down, he finally understood something important. Change doesn't begin with a miracle. It begins with a decision. The first few days felt uncomfortable. Reading after a long shift was not easy. His body was tired. His mind was distracted, and sometimes he wanted to quit. But he remembered the promise he had made to himself. 10 pages, just 10 pages. Not 100, not 1,000, just enough to move forward. So he opened the book, even when he felt exhausted, even when he felt discouraged, even when progress felt slow. Day after day, he kept reading. Week after week, he kept learning. And slowly, something inside him began to change. Not overnight, not dramatically, but quietly, steadily. He started to understand new ideas, new skills, new possibilities. And for the first time in a long time, he felt hope returning to his life. Michael began to notice small differences. He spoke with more confidence. He listened more carefully. He asked better questions. The fear that once controlled him slowly lost its power. Because knowledge replaced uncertainty, and discipline replaced doubt. One afternoon, during a short break outside the warehouse, Michael's phone rang. He almost ignored it, but something told him to answer. On the other end of the line was a recruiter. A company he had applied to months earlier wanted to speak with him again, not because he got lucky, but because he was ready. Michael didn't change his life in a single day. He didn't win the lottery. He didn't discover a secret shortcut. He simply made one small decision, then repeated that decision every single day. And over time, that small habit changed everything.